Coming up tonight at 10, a Saturday night in Springfield turns chaotic when several fights broke out downtown. The concerns from police and a bartender. And teachers across the state may soon be armed in school. How Missouri educators are preparing for active shooter situations. Color 10 News at 10 starts now.
Now, from Ozarks First, you're watching Color 10 News at 10.
This is something that really put our officers in danger. And put the public in danger.
Several fights broke out in downtown Springfield last night, leading to several arrests. This all happened on Patton Avenue, where Springfield PD says items like glass bottles were thrown at officers. One officer went to the hospital with minor injuries, and even a police car was damaged. Color 10's Bethany French is live outside Springfield Police headquarters after talking with a nearby business. Bethany.
Yes, Sydney, that's right. I spoke with a downtown bartender today, and he saw what happened last night, and he tells me that there seemed to be a lot more people out than normal.
This wasn't just a couple fist fights that broke out. That happens every night down there. This was something more.
Shards of glass remain on Patton Avenue after police say a large crowd created a dangerous situation for officers, the public, and businesses Saturday night.
People kind of joined in, and they had to use mace to disperse the crowd. And as that happened, people started retaliating against the officers. And I witnessed a couple people down the street here throwing glass bottles and glassware from one of the other bar's patios at the officers trying to arrest some of the suspects.
Herr says he never wants to see situations like this downtown.
It makes it look like downtown isn't safe. And it is safe, and when something like this happens, it hurts the other businesses because people don't want to be down here and just enjoy the nightlife and enjoy the restaurants.
Justin Hollingsworth, vice president of the Springfield Police Officers Association, says this behavior is not necessarily uncommon for downtown.
But for it to escalate and turn into, for lack of a better word, a riot or a mob, fortunately those things don't happen all the time. But it is kind of becoming more frequent.
To keep the public safe, some Springfield police officers are stationed downtown on weekends, something Herr is thankful for.
I think they're trying to do everything that they can to maintain some semblance of order. And when something like this happens, unfortunately, it kind of looks like there can't be enough police presence. And on any other given night, it's normally more than enough, and they handle themselves very well.
The Springfield Police Officers Association says that hiring more police officers and stationing them downtown could help prevent further situations like this to happen in the future. Reporting in Springfield, Bethany French, Color 10 News.
Thanks, Bethany. And Springfield police are investigating an early morning shooting. According to SBD, officers responded to a call on West Chestnut Expressway at about 1:45 this morning. Their officers found a person with a gunshot wound. First responders took that person to the hospital, who had minor injuries. Police have not made any arrests yet. Select teachers and administrators from all across the state participated in an active shooter training in Urbana yesterday. Now, once they finish the training, staff are allowed to be armed in school, which program leaders say can help prevent a mass casualty event.
We believe that the best way to protect our children from active shooters is a mixture of overt, uniformed school resource officers backed up by covert school protection officers.
In 2014, state legislators passed the School Protection Officer Law.
That program allows selected school staff, after they completed the training, to be armed. The standards for the people that go through it is similar to what a police academy recruit goes through. It's very eye-opening for them once they start hearing the stats on how these things actually happen.
Roger Moore with the Strategos Peacekeepers says time is crucial when it comes to an active shooter situation.
If we wait until the police arrive, then the attack's more likely over with, and the vast majority of the people have already been injured. We found that if we can get at least one intervention-capable person in each building where we have students, then we're able to respond to that attack within the first minute.
Teachers and other administrators go through over 100 hours of training before they can be armed in the classroom.
They're usually vetted by their school district and it's a volunteer position.
On Saturday, the selected staff from across the state spent their time training at Skyline School District. Moore says who they are is private in an effort to keep everyone safe.
We probably can't stop all active shooter events, but we can mitigate them so that we don't have a mass casualty event, and that's what we're trying to do.
Moore says state lawmakers also passed a grant allowing school districts to receive funds for a school protection officer program. The deadline to apply is September 8th. An Aurora man is dead after a crash involving two motorcycles in Collins. According to Highway Patrol, the crash happened just before 11:30 a.m. today when a motorcycle, which had a driver and a passenger, failed to yield to another motorcycle driver. The impact threw the drivers and passenger off the bikes. 59-year-old Jesse Ray was killed in that crash. The woman riding with him and the other driver were both taken to Springfield hospitals in serious condition. Turning now to our weather forecast. After a week of high humidity, heat and high heat indices, relief is finally here. Calm and cool weather is in store for several days this week. Meteorologist Matt Hefner has a first look at our forecast. Matt.
You said it perfectly, Sydney. That light at the end of the tunnel is here. It's finally starting to cool off, and looking at these high temperatures, it's just beautiful, guys. 84 in Springfield. Branson, they'd even hit 80 today. Places like Joplin, 86. And when you compare what we experienced last week, where a lot of us were flirting with triple-digit temperatures day after day, and those heat index values were in 115, up to 120 at one point, to finally get those cooler temperatures, it feels so nice. And a big reason is that heat dome has pushed into the southwest, and we're getting a lot of this dry, cold air from Canada that's starting to pump into our area, and that's why we have those temperatures that are cooler. Right now, 69 in Springfield. It's incredibly nice to get those colder temperatures over our area. Satellite radar right now, things are looking dry. Things are looking pretty quiet over our area. Not only do we have those cooler temperatures, that humidity is not there either. So when we get in tomorrow with the bus stop, it's going to be about 70 when the kids are getting on the bus for school, and when they come back, look at this for an afternoon. 81, and it's going to be comfy. Sydney?
Thanks, Matt. A manhunt is over after law enforcement in Douglas County went after a fugitive. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office says 30-year-old Dalton Hall was wanted for property damage and several counts of burglary. Now, a tip led officers to a residence in Douglas County where they found Hall and a woman, Marianne Priest. The Sheriff's Office says after a short standoff, deputies took Hall into custody where he is being held on a $50,000 bond. Priest was placed on a 24-hour hold while charges are filed. A 2-year-old boy from Illinois is dead after he drowned at Lake of the Ozarks this weekend. Highway Patrol says a family reported their son had wandered off from them. The boy was found unresponsive and taken to Lake Regional Hospital, where he died. And a woman from Sunrise Beach is dead after a boat crash on Lake of the Ozarks last night. Highway Patrol says the boat was operating too close to a dock and hit a large wake before hitting breakwater around 7:45 p.m. Nicolette McKenna died at the scene. Now, the crash report only mentions 4 people with injuries, but the Osage Beach Fire Protection District, who also responded to that boat crash, determined the crash to be a mass casualty incident. The district says firefighters jumped in the water to help the victims, and a total of 14 people were taken to the hospital. A prayer vigil is underway for the victims of the deadly mass shooting at a Dollar General in Jacksonville, Florida this weekend. Law enforcement officials say the shooter killed 3 black people in a racially motivated attack. Christian Benavides has the latest, including new details about both the victims and the gunman.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office released surveillance footage of moments from the deadly shooting at the Dollar General store in Jacksonville Saturday.
When you see him walk out on the sidewalk and he points that gun at that car, he fired 11 rounds at that car. He did not give any warning. He just did it.
The sheriff identified the gunman as 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmetter. Authorities say he carried out his attack in the predominantly black neighborhood, armed with a handgun and an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle painted with swastikas, and that he left behind racist writings at his family's home before taking his own life.
He's a mentally deranged maniac, for lack of a better term. His writings and his manifestos were the diary of a madman.
Neighbors who lived near the shooter say they are shocked by the news.
It's just really scary. I mean, I really have goosebumps just thinking about It's right here in our neighborhood, the quiet little street.
The sheriff's department says the shooter purchased his guns legally and there were no red flags, even though he had been involuntarily committed for a mental health examination in 2017. The shooting took place close to Edward Waters University, a small historically black university.
You said that the suspect was on campus, putting on a vest, putting on a mask.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. And somebody saw him. A security guard did see him.
If that security officer had not been on campus, could this have been worse?
It's hard to tell, but I think so.
The sheriff says the shooter's ideology does not represent the values of the Jacksonville community. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Jacksonville.
3 U.S. Marines have been killed and 5 are in serious condition after an aircraft crash in Australia this morning. 20 other Marines were hurt in that crash that happened during a multinational training exercise. The aircraft was carrying 23 American personnel when it crashed on Melville Island. Other aircraft, including helicopters, brought the injured back from the crash site. Coming up, Mother's Brewing Company celebrating the anniversary of a unique phenomenon that happened over 70 years ago in Springfield. More details after the break.